Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel ForexPnL. Today is the Saturday, the 26th of February 2022, and well, it's time for me to do my weekend Forex forecast for the upcoming week. Well, as you guys know, this week was actually very volatile for most of the pairs as a result of the heightened tension that we have around the world. And before I even go into the charts today, let's just take a look at the economic calendar to see what we have for next week. As usual, I have filtered out for the high impact news and bank holidays that we have. And as you can see here, for next week we have a very loaded agenda. Okay, obviously interest rates from the Australian axis, GDP, GDP as well, okay, from the Australian axis, manufacturing PMI. I mean, it's just a loaded agenda. I'm not even going to waste your time. You can see we also have interest rates coming out from the Canadian axis, and we're actually expecting an increase with 25 basis points, okay? So that's one to keep an eye on. And also, you can see even on Friday, we have obviously the non-farm payroll, which is also one of the most anticipated news items that we have in the forex market. So next week is one you want to really trade with care, if possible. Reduce your risks to make sure that you're not overexposing yourself. And also, we don't know how next week is going to play out as a result of the heightened tension we have around the world, especially between let's say Ukraine and Russia. So we don't know how this is going to affect the markets. I don't know. Okay, so that's something to really keep in mind as you take your trades next week. Okay, so I'm not really gonna waste much time on the calendar. Without any further delays, let's take a look and see what we have on the charts. So right now I actually have about 10 currency pairs that are giving me structural levels to keep an eye on. Actually, we're going to go through the 8 majors, and then I have two of the cross pairs that are looking nice in my own opinion. Okay, all right, so as usual, I'm going to be kicking things off with US dollar Swiss francs, and you can see here we're taking a look at the weekly time frame. Well, we are still stuck in this triangular consolidation, okay, in the weekly time frame. If you pay attention, you can see that this week's candle closed actually an outside bar, completely engulfing last week's candle, as you can see here. So well, we don't really have that much room in here, either to the upside or to the downside. Okay, we are slowly approaching that apex, okay, the vertex of this triangle. So let's see how this market is going to play out. Obviously, I would love to see at least a breakout in either direction, either to the upside or to the downside, for us to start making any clear analysis on this particular currency pair, at least from a weekly perspective. Okay, now I'm taking a look at the daily. What do we have? Not the most beautiful price action, to be completely honest with you. The one thing I can say here is like I had pointed out earlier, we obviously have this break of structure in this particular area, as you can see, and that led to the formation of this particular demand zone in here. All right, so this is the demand zone right here, and price, you can see, just gave us a dip into that demand zone area earlier this week, and from there the bulls came into the markets and started pushing markets to the upside. Okay, so that's really all I can see right now from the daily. Not much. The bulls actually in these markets now, you can see the nice bullish move we had on Thursday and on Friday. Not much. So honestly, it's not the clearest of price actions, to be honest with you. But if you go into the 4 hours time frame, we have this level in here. Okay, this some support and resistance level in here that it appears that the market has been respecting, right around 0.9225 level. So in my own opinion, well, it's very possible that the markets might give us a push to the downside, okay, maybe to retest this area or even a little below it into this particular demand zone area that led to the break of this level of structure, and then anywhere from right around there we might get a bounce to the upside. Okay, I'm still favoring the bullish move, okay, to the bearish move. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Okay, maybe for a possible retest of this trend line, or this the top of this triangle that we have on the weekly time frame. All right, so that's about it. Not much, to be honest with you. It's not really that clear, so I'm not going to waste your time on that. Okay, moving to the next one, Euro US dollar. Okay, again, let's take a look at the weekly time frame. Well, this one is playing out almost near perfection. If you guys remember last week, I told you guys that well, I'm spotting this expanding triangular formation, and that my expectation was that price is going to give us a retest of 1100. All right, and price almost tested 1100 to perfection before bouncing, which corresponds to the lower boundary of this expanding triangle. Okay, I told you guys you can see this is clear indecision in the markets. When the markets begin to make a new low, and then once it makes a new low, it makes a new high. All right, that's indecision. Okay, and you can see here the markets gave us a push to the downside, just enough to take off this low. And don't be surprised in the event that market makes a new high again from here. I would not be surprised if this happens. Okay, just to take off this high, only for us to start shooting to the downside again. That is a possibility. Now, is it going to happen next week? Nobody knows. Okay, it's still possible that maybe from next week, maybe we might just get a little push to the upside, and then from here maybe drop again massively to the downside. Okay, towards the bottom range. So there are a couple of possibilities here, and remember we are taking a look at the weekly time frame, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But from what I can see here, we manipulated below these lows, and you can see the bulls came into these markets, and we succeeded in closing this week a pin bar. That's pretty much the information that I can grab from this at this moment. Okay, now if we take a look at the daily time frame, well, not much, to be honest with you. Price, this is an area that price took off to the downside, but again, we did not have a sustained move below these particular lows that we have in this area. So the bulls are in these markets for a little bit at least. I'm still expecting that maybe from here, maybe a little pullback to the downside, and then an attack towards these selling origins that we have here, from where the markets will make a decision to either maybe give us another attack to the downside. Okay, very possible, or from here the bulls might now come into these markets from here to give us another push into this weekly supply zone, enough to manipulate these highs, maybe even run things towards this area before price starts dropping. So a few possibilities here. Okay, like I said, we have to wait to see how this plays out in the long run. All right, so that's pretty much it from for euro US dollar. I'm not even going to waste your time in the daily time frame. Now in the 4 hours time frame, if you zoom in, this was a level that we were keeping an eye on last week. Okay, so remember I told you guys this was a key level. You see that, well, price broke that level, but everything happened in way too much momentum. Okay, unless you zoomed into the smaller time frame, you probably didn't even get a chance to take any trades in here, maybe upon this pullback and continuation to the downside. Okay, but well, this actually created a supply zone. So like I said earlier, there are a few levels in here. Okay, so in the 4 hours time frame, we have this particular supply zone that was formed as a result of this break of structure that we have in this area. Okay, this level. All right, this is the move that took it off to the downside, creating this supply zone in the process. So well, price is now slowly but surely approaching that area again. So it's very possible that maybe from here we might get a push to the downside, maybe a dip into this supply zone area, maybe even possibly retesting 113.50 area. Yeah, maybe from here, you never know, the bears might come into this market again to maintain the bearish order that we have in the 4 hours time frame for maybe another attack to the downside towards this lower boundary of the expanding triangle. Or in the event that price breaks this level, it's very, very possible that from here maybe the bulls might come into this market, push above this clearly, and then from here we might now get a pullback to fill up demand zones in the smaller time frame for further continuations to the upside into this weekly supply zone. All right, so this is a clearer picture in my own opinion, and I'll be keeping an eye on this to see which of these scenarios play out. Again, remember, these scenarios must not play out, okay, but this is what I would prefer to see. It's very possible that from here the markets can just open next week and just continue to shoot to the downside from here. Who knows? All right, but from here, these are the two scenarios that I would love to see, and I'll be keeping an eye on for next week. All right, again, as usual, I'm going to be giving you guys my updates on the midweek forex forecast that I usually release on Wednesday 1 a.m. Eastern time every week. All right, so keep an eye out for that particular updates. All right, that's pretty much what I have here for euro US dollar. Next up is going to be Australian dollar US dollar. Now for Australian dollar US dollar, guys, I really don't have much, to be completely honest with you. Again, we are yet to take off this lower high that we have in this area. Okay, this market seems to be in a downtrend, but you can see it seems as if we are slowly running out of steam. You can see that all the way in this area in the chart, the market was making clear lower highs, okay, and lower lows. But then after this particular swing, price gave us a pullback from the lower high, And then this push to the downside barely took off these lows that we have in this area. And from here, you can see we are having very deep retracements. Okay, so in my own opinion, it's not looking so good at the moment. Okay, in terms of the depth of this retracement. However, we are still yet to take off this lower high that we have in this area. So as long as price remains in this area consistently below these highs, then we are yet to break that order, and it's still very possible that the bears can come into this market and continue to push this market again to the downside until we begin to get clear breaks, clear breaks above this particular lower high. Then this market might still remain bearish. But if this happens, then I'll be waiting for price to give me maybe some pullback to fill up demand zones in the smaller time frame for further continuations to the upside. Okay, but for now, since we are still below this particular highs, I'm still going to be favoring these bears in this particular markets. Okay, now that's pretty much it from the weekly time frame. Again, we now have a fourth week of buying in this particular currency pair. The bulls are still in this market. However, we are now nearing key levels in this particular chart. Okay, now taking a look at the daily time frame, again, not much in my own opinion. I had anticipated that this level right here, we have this supply zone in here. All right, I anticipated that this level is going to hold, but you can see we got a dip in the first time, picked up some orders, and you can notice that we are not taking off any lows. All right, you can see even this push again into this particular supply zone gave us some push to the downside, but did not take off this low that we have in this area. So the market is slowly but surely forming higher highs and higher lows in this particular time frame at the moment. Okay, so well, I'm not so interested in this particular supply zone anymore. Price has dipped in a couple of times, and the bulls are still waxing strong and trying to push these markets to the upside. Okay, now looking at the 4 hours time frame, not much, to be honest with you. When this move happened, I had anticipated that the bears are now going to come into these markets and start respecting key levels. Okay, obviously we have this selling origin right here in the 4 hours time frame that price is yet to retest. So there's a possibility that maybe from here, you never know, price might give us a dip into these particular highs, and then from here we might pick up orders for the bears to continue doing their thing in these markets. Okay, that's a possibility, but again, only time will tell what happens. I'm only going to be really bullish when price begins to take off this selling origin clearly to the upside. Okay, but again, if you look in the hourly time frame, guys, we have a key level in here. If you start reading price action, you'll notice that well, this demand zone was formed as a result of this break of structure. You can see price broke this structure, also took off this supply zone in here, and created this demand zone in the process. So it's very possible that from here the markets might give us a dip to the downside into this particular demand zone that we have in the hourly time frame, right around 0.7200 institutional price level, and then from here the bulls might come into this market to give us another attack into that selling origin that we have in the 4 hours time frame, from where maybe the bears might now begin to come into this market, or we might get a clear break from that level, and then the bulls might start pushing to the upside. Okay, so again, only time will tell which of these scenarios will play out. Okay, but this is what I'm seeing on my charts at this moment. Now that's pretty much it for Australian dollar, US dollar. Next up is going to be New Zealand US dollar. Now pretty similar to the Australian dollar, US dollar in my own opinion, but I'm looking way better. Okay, you see that well, in this particular currency pair, you can see that the bears are still in control in these markets. Okay, we are having very clear lower highs and lower lows, even though we also have 4 bullish weeks. All right, bullish candles. We are not in any way even threatening the highs. Okay, the last lower high that we have in this area. So in my own opinion, this is still looking nice for the bears. Okay, in the weekly time frame. So not much, just the fact that we also had a bullish week. Okay, I'm not seeing any other thing, and the price is now giving us some dip into this supply zone that we have on the weekly time frame in this particular currency pair. Okay, all right, now if you take a look at the daily charts, there are a few levels to keep an eye on here. Okay, you obviously have this weekly selling origin, this daily supply zone. All right, or selling, actually it's a supply zone broke this structure. So this is a supply zone, and we have this demand zone in this area. All right, in my own opinion, you can see that price right now is trading between these two levels. And if we take a look at the supply zone area, this is a key level in this chart, because this is where the bears came into this market. Price came a little close to that area, and you can see that from there, and the bears started pushing these markets to the downside. That being said, we also had this level that we were keeping an eye on last week. If you remember, price gave us a dip into that area, push to the downside, but again, just like in the case of the Australian dollar, US dollar, we are not making any new lows. Okay, the market is slowly making higher highs and higher lows in this particular currency pair, at least from the daily time frame. And you can see from there, the bulls again have come in significantly in this market. So what am I seeing? Like I said, we are still bearish. All right, in the long term, we are still bearish. However, it seems like we still have some bulls in the smaller time frames, okay, like the hourly time frame. So let's see how this goes. Because of that, if you zoom into the 4 hours time frame, again, not much. We cleared all these levels in here. Okay, you can see all this the liquidity grab that we had. Price cleared all these areas that we have in this area, these levels of structure, with this move to the downside, and that means that we have now formed another supply zone in here. All right, we have another supply zone in here in the 4 hours time frame. So this is a key area in this chart. This 0.6800 institutional price level is a key area in this chart. So I would love to see how price reacts and when we get into that area. So what I'm believing right now is that we might get a push to the downside, and then from here price might give us another quick run into, let's say, this 0.6800 institutional price level area, from where maybe the bears might now begin to come back into this market for further continuations to the downside. Now another possibility is obviously that in a case where the bulls continue to push this market clearly to the upside, and then from here we might just get a pullback to retest demand zones in the smaller time frame for further continuations to the upside. Okay, these are the two scenarios that I would love to see. Obviously, there's also the possibility that from here the markets can break below this demand zone that we have, all right, in the hourly time frame, and just continue to push to the downside. This is another possibility, but in my own opinion, that is not one that I'm going to prefer to see. These are the two that are very, very likely in my own opinion. Okay, but again, my opinion does not matter in this market. The markets will do whatever it wants to do, so let's just follow the markets. As usual, I'm going to be giving an update in the midweek forex forecast, depending on how the market moves earlier in the week. Okay, so that's one for you to keep an eye on. Now, taking a look at the hourly time frame, just similar to the Australian dollar US dollar currency pair, well, this is also a very nice one. We had this nice supply zone in here. Price ran into that supply zone, and finally in here we broke that level of structure to the upside, and this demand zone was formed. So well, from here a push to this area, maybe to retest 0.6700 decisional price level, and then from here any bounces to the upside, guys, I'll also be looking for an opportunity to go long into this 4 hours supply zone that I had identified in this area. Okay, so from there it's very possible that the bears might come into this market. All right, so let's see how it goes, but this is what I am seeing at the moment. Okay, so that's it for New Zealand US dollar. Next up is going to be British pounds US dollar. Now for this particular currency pair, guys, things moved almost as anticipated from the weekend forex forecast last week, and you can see that right now if you take a look in the weekly time frame, price actually gave us a very nice bearish week. Okay, price gave us a very nice push to the downside, but again that push was just enough to dip into this weekly demand zone that we have here. Okay, you can see how this moved to the upside, took off this supply zone, all right, and we created this demand zone in the process. And then earlier a few weeks ago, price gave us this push to the downside just to tap the top of that demand zone, and you can see we got a push to the upside, but it was not enough to take off the lower high that we have in this area, which meant that the bears were still in these markets from the longer perspective, okay, longer term perspective. And then this week again we got another dip into that demand zone, deeper this time around, and you can see that slowly but surely the bulls are now showing their muscle in this particular market. But again, it's, if you take a look at the the body of this week's candle, it is looking more bearish than bullish in my own opinion. So I'm favoring a bearish move, but it's possible that we might still get maybe a little push to the upside before the bears actually come into this market, okay, for further continuations to the downside. All right, so let's see how that plays out. Now from the daily time frame, guys, not much. Okay, we had actually a few two levels. Price was actually trading in some form of range last week. If you guys remember, price was trading in a range of this nature, and you can see that that range gave us a nice break to the downside. But again, you can see that happened in way too much momentum for you to even get in, unless you were already trading these smaller time frames and you were short. Okay, but well, that's pretty much what I can see right now from the daily time frame. It's very, very possible that price is going to give us maybe a push to retest the bottom of this area, maybe around 1.3500 institutional price level, from where maybe the bears might start coming back to this market to continue to push things again to the downside. Who knows? Only time will tell. Now, taking a look at the 4 hours time frame, what do we have here? Well, the 4 hours time frame, well, again, this is the level, but again, this is where this selling started from. Okay, we have a supply zone. Oops, 1 second. We have what am I doing? 1 second, guys. We have a supply zone in here, all right, and well, we also have like a mini level in here, so I'm not gonna discount this. Okay, this looks like a hidden supply zone, all right, even though it's not the clearest, but these are 2 levels as well to keep an eye on. Okay, actually I wouldn't be expecting this deep of a pullback, to be honest with you. So I'm probably gonna keep this level in here. What I would love to see, maybe for price to give us a possible retest of this area, even towards this area is fine as well, to retest this area. And anywhere from right around here, you know, I will expect the bears to start coming back into these markets. That is, if we are going to be continuing to push these markets to the downside. All right, but that's going to be an area I would like to see these markets react from. All right, so that's it for GU at this particular moment from the you know, from the 4 hours time frame. Now in the daily time, in the hourly time frame, guys, you can see that slowly but surely we are forming higher highs and higher lows. All right, price gave us a nice push to the upside, a little breather, and then finally we broke structure, took off this supply zone, created this demand zone in here, and since then you can see how the market has been respecting that demand zone. We are yet to take off this high, but it's also possible that that will happen. So it will not be impossible to see this market give us maybe a push to the downside upon market open, and then maybe from here give us another nice push to the upside towards this 13500, 13550 area, from where I would love to see the bears coming to this market. Okay, in the event that price begins to break clearly above this 13550 area, I don't think I'm going to be too keen on going long yet. However, the key level to go long, in my own opinion, would be a clear break above 136.50. Now, obviously, that being said, if you're trading the really smaller time frames, guys, which I am personally going to start doing based on my own new the new things that I'm handling at the moment, I'm also going to start zooming into the smaller time frame because I really don't have that much time in my hands at this moment. Okay, so if you're going to be trading the really smaller time frames and price, let's say, begins to clearly break above let's say 135.50, there's nothing wrong in, you know, searching for demand zones that form in the smaller time frame for quick moves to the upside. Okay, I just wanted to point that out as well. All right, but right now these are the key selling levels in my own opinion. This level right here in the hourly, and also the base of this range in the 4 hours time frame. Okay, so let's see how that goes. All right, that's it for British pounds and US dollar. Next up is going to be US dollar, Canadian dollar. Now well, this pair gave us a fake breakout of the range to the upside. Okay, and as you guys already know, we had already spotted, actually let me start from the weekly time frame, make it easier. All right, so this is the flat top triangle that we are tracking in the weekly time frame, and as you guys already know, I kept an eye on this particular range. I told you guys we have 2 weeks, actually 3 weeks of you know, rejection to the downside, and from there the anticipation was that we're most likely going to get a break to the upside. Okay, and then from here we probably get a break to the upside, and this was the kind of move I would have loved to see this week. Okay, yes, we did get a break to the upside, but you can see that was a fake out. Okay, price quickly, you know, dove back into that particular range that we have. So this was a fake break to the upside, as you can see that this week actually closed a pin bar, and well, who knows? Okay, I'm still keeping an eye on this particular area to see how price is going to behave as we go into next week. Okay, now zooming into the daily time frame, not very clear at this moment. When we got this nice push to the upside, my opinion, price was going to respect this area, and then from here we're going to continue to the upside. But this was the kind of move I anticipated. All right, this is what I wanted to see, but you can see how price dove back again into this particular range. So no clear decisions right now. I think this might be related to the whole OPEC meetings that we have next week. Okay, that might be what is causing this irregular price movements in in relation to the Canadian dollar. Now, that being said, let's see how the market is going to behave after that meeting. All right, let's see, because I'm really interested in this particular currency pair. It's very possible that from here the markets might maybe give us maybe a push again to the downside. It's very, very possible. But again, I'm only paying attention to demand zones that form on our charts. And one key demand zone that we have in this pair right now, let me just map out all the demand zones. All right, so this is one key demand zone that we have in this particular chart. It's a big one, but it's a demand zone. Okay, you can see how from here the bears gave us a nice push to the downside, taking out these levels of structure to the downside, creating this supply zone in the process. All right, but then price gave us a nice push to the upside, did not quite take off the supply zone, and finally this was the move that took off this supply zone and creating this demand zone in the process. And as you can see here, price has been picking up orders from that particular demand zone, and we are now slowly but surely approaching that demand zone area again. So well, anywhere from right around here, price can easily give us a push again, into this particular demand zone, and it's very possible that we can still get a nice push again to the upside from here, respecting this demand zone. Okay, so this area right here, it is a huge one, but it's a demand zone in my own opinion. Okay, so let's see how the market reacts as we go into next week from this particular zone that we have here. All right, so that's pretty much it for Australian dollar, US dollar. It's pretty much a waiting game right now for me to see how the market is going to react in this particular zone that I have just mapped out. All right, so that's it. Next up is going to be US dollar Japanese yen. All right, now US dollar Japanese yen, not much guys. Price is just consolidating. We are still within this weekly range area, so I'm not even going to waste your time. I don't see anything spectacular to really talk about, and maybe we have a zone in here. It's very possible this might be a little area that we have of interest. You can see resistance, broken, support. Okay, so it's very possible that this might be the area that the market wants to retest. Okay, for maybe another push again to the upside. Who knows? But it's not the best looking in my own opinion, and I'm not even going to waste your time trying to analyze it. As usual, I'm going to be giving you guys an update in this particular currency pair, in the midweek forex forecast that I release on Wednesdays. Okay, all right. So that's it for US dollar Japanese yen. The last of the majors is going to be GJ. Okay, GJ is looking nice in my opinion, played out almost to perfection. Actually, I exited a trade in this particular currency pair that would have netted me significant profits. If you guys watched the midweek forex forecast, I told you guys that I'm actually short, and then I exited that trade, because I didn't like the way the market was moving, and well, the market gave us this nice push almost a few minutes after I exited. Okay, but hey, it is part of the game. I just wanted to just keep you guys posted on what happened in this pair. Well, before I get ahead of myself, let's take a look at the weekly time frame. What do we have going on here? It's obviously looking ugly in my opinion. Price might most likely be in some form of a range in here. Okay, with this being the upper bound of the range and this being the lower bound of the range. Okay, let me just map out this area that we have here. So that's what I'm seeing right now. Well, we had a pin bar, week of indecision, and this week the bears came into this market. Okay, and well, that's really much it from the weekly time frame. It was a clear bearish week. Okay, even though we have some week to the downside, significant week to the downside, but again, this was a bearish week in my opinion. All right, now taking a look at the daily time frame. This is that's the range that price is currently trading in right now. Obviously, this is the demand zone that we have here that led to the break of this level of structure. And you can see price has dipped into that area and gave us a push to the upside to retest these highs. And well, again, price gave us a push to the downside now into that particular range area as well, into that particular demand zone, and we are still picking up orders from this particular area, this zone right here. Okay, so the bulls are, in these markets right now. However, that being said, we have a supply zone here that I'm going to keep an eye on. Okay, so if we're going to be trading inside this range, it's also possible that from here price might give us another attack to the top of this range. That is a possibility, but again, they have this particular 4 hours supply zone to battle with. So it's a battle right now. If price gets into the supply zone, if the bears are going to take control of these markets, then they have to continue to push these markets to the downside from here, which is actually my preferred course of action. But in the case that that doesn't happen, and from here price just gives us a push to the upside, breaking clearly above this 4 hour supply, then in my own opinion, maybe pullbacks to fill up demand zones, we might get another push to the upside to retest, let's say 157.75 area, which is the top of this range that we have in this particular currency pair. All right, that's pretty much what I can see from the daily time frame. If we zoom into the 4 hours time frame, you begin to see price action clearer. All right, we obviously have this supply zone that I have mapped out right here, very key one in my own opinion. You can see how the markets give us a very nice break of these levels of structure, this 1, 2 right here. Okay, and from here you can see a decision was made, we pushed to the downside, clearly breaking those levels, and this supply zone was created in this area. So 155.50 area, 155.75 area is going to be key in this particular currency pair. So what I would love to see right now is for price to give me a dip into this particular supply zone, anywhere from right around here. If the market begins to bounce to the downside, guys, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside, at least for a retest of this previous swing low area that we have right here, right around 153.50 area. Okay, but in the event that from here the market gives us, let's say, a break to the upside, breaking above this supply zone, that would be an indication that we might be most likely retesting the high of this range that we have mapped out right here, and that from here all I'll be waiting for is for price to fill up demand zones in the smaller time frame for another push to the upside towards that 157.75 level. Okay, that's pretty much what I can see right now in British pounds and Japanese yen. Now we have two cross pairs that are looking nice in my opinion. I actually called out both of them last week. All right, and they're actually behaving as anticipated. Okay, so the first is going to be euro pounds. All right, so if you remember, guys, in euro pounds I had mapped out this weekly level, and I told you guys be careful going shorts because this is a key level that we have not yet broken since 2016. So that's about how many years? 5 years since price traded below this area. So that's the key level, and from here you can see that it seems as if we are slowly bouncing from the bottom of that range. Okay, so it might be good to start searching for long opportunities in this particular currency pair. All right, and let's read price action so that you can see what's going on. From what you can see here, it looks like we might be getting some form of inverted head and shoulder. Who knows? You can see that price was giving us a very nice push to the downside. All right, and finally what happens, we get a retracement to the upside into this supply zone right here, and then from there the bears came into these markets, manipulated just below these lows that we have here towards, let's say, that 0.8300 institutional price level, and from there we've gotten some form of hesitations in this area. And finally, the bulls came into these markets and pushed the markets to the upside, okay, breaking above these levels of structure and creating this 4 hours demand zone in the process. So, well, from here, what I would love to see next week is for price to give me a push to the downside into this particular demand zone, from where I would love to see the bulls, let's say maybe a retest of, let's say, 0.8350 area, 83.55, anywhere from right around here. Any bounces we get to the upside, in my opinion, would be a high quality trade for a very nice push to the upside. Okay, that's what I would love to see in euro pounds as we go into next week. Okay, so that's it for euro pounds, and the last but not the least is going to be British pounds and Swiss francs. All right, and well, this one is playing as anticipated, guys. If you remember, I think price was here in the last weekend analysis, and I told you guys that for the past 4 days price seems to be finding some very big rejections. Okay, you can see we had 4 pin bars pretty much last week, and I told you guys that whenever price gives us a very clear move to the downside, that will be an indication that the bears are going to come into this market in momentum, and that's exactly what we had this week. Price gave us a very nice push to the downside into some, I guess, some buying origin or some demand zone in here that caused this nice rejection for this retracement that we have right here. So if we go into the 4 hours time frame without wasting your time, this is now a key level in my own opinion, and you can see actually price has given us a very nice push to the upside to retest that 124.50 institutional price level in this case. I don't think they are done at this point. I think we are probably still going to maybe get some form of push into this particular supply zone, all right, and then from here any reactions to the downside, bounces to the downside, I think that would be a very high quality trade for further continuations to the downside. All right, that's pretty much what I'm seeing right now in British pounds and Swiss francs. As usual, guys, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this, and if it develops, I'm going to be giving you guys an update in the weekend in the midweek forex forecast that I release 1 a.m. Eastern time every Wednesday. All right, so be on the lookout for that particular video as well. So that's pretty much it from my own end, guys. Hopefully you gained some value from this, and if you did, guys, please do not forget to click on that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on the notification bell so that you will always get updates whenever I post a video. Cheers and have a nice weekend. Bye bye.